Welcome back to my channel, Statistics for Applied Linguistics. I'm Dr. Marnie Menegra, and in this video today, we're going to look at how to write the limitations and the conclusion of a thesis or of a research article. So the limitations, I did discuss this briefly in the video with the discussion section, and normally we would see this in the discussion section. It can either be a subsection of the discussion or it can be its own section. When it is its own section, I have seen this both before and after the conclusion. I prefer that it's before the conclusion. Of course, other thesis supervisors may tell you something different, so check with your supervisor. Again, the reason why I prefer it before the conclusion is I think that the conclusion is the very last part of the thesis that summarizes everything. I don't really see that anything should be beyond that, but there are different styles here. So with your limitations section, what you want to do is identify the limitations of your study. What went wrong and what could have been done better? And you would need to explain the limitations in full detail. So identify what should be done if this study were to be replicated. So if someone were going to repeat this, what is something that you did that the next person should avoid? And identify what should be investigated in future studies that could not be included in a replication study. And this can be one subsection or two subsections. So this can be the limitations of the study and implications for further research as one section together, or limitations of the study as one section or subsection, and implications for further research is a completely different section. So let's see how this might look, but we'll first look at common limitations of a study. So what people will typically report is lack of previous research studies on the topic, and that's a background issue. This one you want to be very careful of, because if you just say that nobody else has ever done this before, that could be an indication that you didn't really do a very good deep dive into the background literature. So this one here, if you honestly cannot find anything, you can say that. But selection of the sample size or other issues with the sample, that might be a participant issue. The sample size is too small for inferential statistics. That's a participant and results issue. An issue with the instruments or techniques used to collect the data, that could be a procedure issue. Time constraints, that again is a procedure issue, and conflicts arising from any biases, including cultural biases. So these are the things that we see most common when people write the limitations. So phrases, and I'm not going to read all of these, but you might say there may be some possible limitations in the study, or the findings of the study have to be seen in light of some limitations, and then you can continue there. Okay, so here's an example where we can see this is 4.2. This would be a subsection of the discussion section. This is the limitations. And we can see that it starts with there were 4 key limitations to the study. The most significant was the time. And then she continues from there. In the second paragraph, she starts to discuss the second limitation. But then we also have 4.3 are implications for further research. So this is where she split it into 2 different subsections of the discussion section. And it starts with additional research is recommended for further study, to further study the efficacy of different telecollaboration models in promoting intercultural competence in second language learners. So that's how she began that there, and we can see that's a different subsection. Now, after the discussion section and after these subsections, you're typically going to find the conclusion. So the conclusion is going to be anywhere between a paragraph to 2 or 3 pages. And what you want with the conclusion first is to restate the main answer to your research question. Then summarize and reflect on the research process. State what your thesis has contributed to the grand pool of knowledge, and then wrap everything up. So this isn't anything that's going to be too long. The majority of what you would write in terms of the analyses would be in the discussion section. And here you can see an example for the conclusion, where we've got a few different paragraphs here, starting with the study was built on previous research examining the utility of telecollaboration in fostering IC development. And then this continues. So that takes us to the end of this video on the limitations, suggestions for further research, and then also writing the conclusion. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.